Hey there, party people. Welcome to the Honest Trailer commentary for The Kissing Booth 1 and 2. Yes, the only two movies that matter. We'll be talking about the Honest Trailer, going through it with you, explaining our deep, personal, live journaled thoughts about it, sharing with you our hot/fic. And speaking of which, there's Joe and Lon. Hey guys, thanks for joining me.
Hey, you were the only two boys I would want to be in a kissing booth with.
Blindfolded or no?
Oh, no blindfold, just pure eye contact.
Unbroken eye contact.
No, it's most romantic if you start blindfolded and then you take the blindfold dramatically off. I think that's what we need to do.
Your eyeballs actually touch. I don't know how kissing works.
So we're going to do that, and then we're going to talk about. We actually don't have any outtakes. So we had a substitute editor this week, where our editor Kevin is on vacation, and he did a wonderful job with the trailer. But there was a few things that we forgot. Namely, we forgot to do comments at the end of this. At the end, sorry, and we forgot to do outtakes for this show. So we're going to give you next week on this trailer is just going to be comments and outtakes. So I hope you enjoy that.
That's it.
Just going to be the cut jokes and things we ask John to say.
Can we make the thumbnail like when they do like Captain Crunch, oops, all berries, where it's just like a picture of you like, oops, all comments.
But we will take your respond to some comments at the end of this video and some things that you might happen to ask in the chat about kissing. What's it like? How do you do it? What's the best way to practice?
Oh, I'm going to take
pillows all the way down.
Too.
So,
for a friend.
Yeah, The Kissing Booth. You guys, I feel a little bad picking on this movie because it's written by a 15-year-old, and yet adults were the ones who took that and made it into a feature film.
Yeah, I think maybe like we wouldn't want to necessarily spend all this time slagging a piece of fiction written by a 15-year-old. This movie was not made by these people are responsible for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think it's open season on them, not the original author. I don't want to go after her.
Yeah.
These idiots.
Totally. And the crazy thing though was like when I was watching these, I was like, what twisted, like sick, old, like 40-something gross Florida guy wrote these things? And then it's like, oh, a 15-year-old girl wrote them. Wow.
Oh, that
wow. Okay. Like it has the sensibility of like a much older person trying to like be cravenly copying what the teens are into, down to like the bad boy who wears like a leather jacket and rides a motorcycle. Like that's a 50s trope. How is this a kid?
It's weird to discover those hack tropes are legit.
I mean, a lot of fan fiction is, these are the first sort of projects that a young creative mind is sort of taking on. And you know, when you are first starting out, you crib from stuff you've seen and things that you know. I mean, every writer does that. That's not fan fiction specific. So I think that's what you're seeing a lot is like the author saw that on TV or 90210 or some other high school thing that lifted that trope and integrated it into her own world, which in fan fiction is totally normal. It's like, but isn't that the sort of thing you like adapt when you're making it into a movie?
Yeah.
Instead of just bringing it in wholesale and being like, that's in our movie.
You gotta bring in the stuff that, brought everybody to the party to begin with. Like it was a popular... Look, we live in a world now where there are executives at studios and streaming services that have to keep an eye out on Wattpad and like creepypasta. To see what... Like, that's the post-50 Shades world we live in, that people are keeping an eye on fanfic sites to see what pops.
In fairness, it's sort of a little of both. There's also, like, Wattpad is very actively out there trying to get adaptations of stuff that blew up because it makes their content a lot more valuable. So, but you're not wrong. It's like both things are happening at once. Like, Hollywood is like, what are the kids into? Fanfic. And then Wattpad is also like, hey, you guys seen this fanfic? Come check it out.
Now, is it not to split hairs, but is it fanfic? Because fanfic is like it's an ode to like another IP, right? This wasn't like Twilight with the names changed. Like,
no, I don't think this is rooted
just like,
in another IP. This is just a story that was published to Wattpad, which is that site where all the fanfic is.
I mean, we're old. What do we know? So there's what really shook me about The Kissing Booth 1, and this was addressed in the sequel, thankfully. And this is why I prefer 2 to 1, Lon. We're having that
huge
argument
big schism on the like. I thought Kissing, like, I don't think either is like a great movie, but I thought 1 was a lot more, first of all, breezy and easy to get through, whereas 2 is like a Ridley Scott length slog.
It was longer, yeah.
I'll be perfectly honest. By the time I got to 2, I left my body. Like,
I mean,
I watched it,
That is fair. I watched both of these in a row. Like, I marathoned the kissing booths. So maybe it was just fatigue set in by halfway through part 2.
Yeah, I mean,
that is possible.
Two things struck me. Is one was the lack of plot importance of the titular kissing booth. The fact that the kissing booth really appears once in the first movie and is referred to in making maybe a desperate attempt to make the title make sense. They're like, I guess this never would have happened if it wasn't for that old kissing booth. But you could really say the same thing about any scene in that film.
Yeah. Yep.
It's weird that they get 2 at-bats and neither time figured out a way to actually work the kissing booth into the story. Like, we gave you a whole second movie to try again.
Well, it's super weird, right? Because it's like, let's compare it to, say, like, another Netflix young adult rom-com that's actually pretty good, which was To All the Boys I've Loved Before.
Mm-hmm.
Good film. Good film.
Much better.
The notes, these notes she wrote to her crushes, they're the inciting incident of the movie. Like, the kissing booth should be like the first.
Well, it should be called
movie, right?
21 Simple Rules I Have for My Best
For
Friend.
not dating my teenage
For not
friend.
dating my 25-year-old playing a teenager brother. It's that, and that was the other thing I wanted to talk about for Kissing Booth 1 and why I found it so bizarre and upsetting is because they have all the makings of like a love triangle of like he's the ducky, he like this guy Lee has always loved her and she just they never saw each other that way, or she never saw him like that. She always had a crush on the aggressive, like violent, hot, older brother. But that wasn't where they went with it. So it was really just like a very possessive friendship. Like that was the only tension keeping her from dating this guy was like, but we have friend rules.
Yeah, the way they've gone with it is basically like it was like you're only jealous or you only love somebody until you can find like somebody else. Like the solution for any kind of feeling like jealousy or whatever is just date this other person, and that like that they keep coming back to that, which I don't really think is very realistic. Like even if you're with somebody, if you love somebody, like those feelings are much more complicated than I think.
It gets weirder in the second one. If I remember the second one, because it seems like everyone else in the second one sees it, but them, like. His very upset when she leaves a room girlfriend is constantly just like
you two are in love with each other.
Yeah.
But are they? I mean, this is to Spencer's point. This is what I keep coming back to both movies. Are Lee and Elle like? Do they really have romantic feelings? Because at this point, they've never actually conceded this, and they've never acted on them. It's
only the people, like Joe's saying, the people around them are onto them.
But are they onto them, or are they just suspicious because they're so close? Like I actually can't feel. I don't know what the movies are saying to us.
Look, Lon, we have to. I'm sorry, but like we have to wait for part 3 where they finally end up in the kissing booth. Like that's the ultimate test.
I mean, I'm sure that the third is
the kissing booth is in Neverending Story, the 2 sphinxes that shoot lasers. Like that's what the kissing booth is.
I feel like maybe this is why
complete with the confusing sexual feelings that those statues gave me.
Maybe these are why rom-coms aren't traditionally done as like 3-part shared universe franchises, because it's just like just get to it. Like, do they like each other or not, man?
Yeah.
The rules are why
you don't need to end game this.
Speaking of just get to it, let's not spend the entire day talking about the kissing booth.
Let's.
Counterpoint.
Let me just put that out.
Let's. I'm sure we'll have much more to say as we watch the Honest trailer for the kissing booth.
I have so much to say.
I wonder what like the French and Italian titles are for these movies. Probably
Le
Smoochie.
From a society that refuses to stop making movies out of fanfic.
What are butt plugs?
Comes 2 films based on a 15-year-old's Wattpad that became smash hits thanks to a demographic I've aged way out of.
Hey, clothes on, young lady. In my day, movie teens acted age appropriately.
Oh, yeah.
That's better.
The Kissing Booths.
Pause. Kissing booth in Italian is cabina de baci.
You have to do this though when you say la cabina de baci.
Probably a lot less scandalous in Europe because they just kiss each other hello. So it's like, yeah, that's how we say.
You're like, this is normal day at school, yes?
All right, keep going.
That's what you call the front porch of your house.
Is the kissing booth, the kissing portico. All right, keep going.
Get ready for an old-school rom-com with all the hallmarks of a John Hughes classic. Sexual harassment. Double standards for women.
So pause.
And there you are.
That whole thing with like the first day of school, she has to wear the tiniest skirt with her butt cheeks hanging out, and then the guy slaps her, and then she gets in trouble, and then he asks her out on a date by wearing a tiny skirt is really weird, right?
And that's only the beginning. Then he stands her up for that date, and she thinks, like, what a jerk. But she finds out that actually the older brother of her best friend has been threatening every man at school for years into not asking her out in this weird shadow campaign to win her affection. It's like, what is going on in this movie?
I'm just imagining if I was getting ready for the first day of school, I had school uniforms, and like my jeans and underwear or whatever completely ripped, and like it was either wear these ripped pants with my balls hanging out or find something else to put on. And I was like, no, I'll just wear these.
The danglers it is.
My plums dangling. Like, they find so many dumb ways to get her out of her clothes.
All of them. I mean, the boys too.
Yeah.
Like it's like a relentless campaign to get these kids undressed for
the weird thing. And like, look, I think
clearly 25, I'd be uncomfortable.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
Yeah.
They used to do this. I mean, like American Pie, plenty of nudity, like all the way back to Porky's and stuff like that. But there was a certain just like open horniness about those movies, where this one, like, you could take out all that stuff and it's still like a Disney Channel movie, except people like are suddenly in their underwear.
That's
whereas,
interesting.
Like, Porky's and American Pie was like, let's get laid.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think you're right. Like, this movie's like tee-hee-hee, but still as horny as those movies. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's why it feels weird.
It's also just a clash with like more modern sensibility. Like those movies from the 80s that you're describing are gross. Like when you watch them today, like we recognize that like that was gross and weird, and like maybe the movies didn't need to be like that. Like especially Revenge of the Nerds is often held up as like the alpha example of that. But they're all kind of like that. And so when you watch a movie that was made today with otherwise very contemporary tone and standards, but then puts that stuff back in there anyway, it does feel jarring.
Right up to the nerds from Revenge of the Nerds being in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that sensibility. Like, otherwise it feels like a thing that it was created in 2020, but there is this weird mean streak and pervert streak from the 80s that like shows up every now and again.
Again, why I thought it was at least a 40-year-old man writing this. So
it does in some ways feel like somebody who came of age in that era trying to like recreate it for today.
Yeah, all right, let's keep going.
Double standards for women.
And there you are treating her like some slut that you picked up at the club.
And Molly Ringwald. As you journey to a Los Angeles so white, you'll swear you're actually in South Africa, because you are.
He goes and gets into a fight on the first day of school.
Great story. Now about those blood diamonds.
Pause. The dads are South African, and Tuppen, definitely South African, and the main Noah is, I believe, Australian?
Tuppen the giant?
Yeah, Tuppen's the giant. But Noah spends the entire movie like kind of in like a growl, and I realized like, oh, that's to hide the accent. Like, he kind of just says a few things like this as he's turning away. It's a good way to secret away the accent. But weirdly, like, you know, some of it was shot in Los Angeles, which is what threw me. Like, they're definitely on like the Santa Monica Pier at certain points, and then
there's one shot where there clearly is an establishing shot, and they're really in Santa Monica. But then you get a close up of Joey King walking along the pier, and it's very obviously a green screen backdrop behind her. So I feel like they later did pickups in South Africa posing as real locations.
Right.
But you're right. There was at least a week or two in LA.
You were in this kind of bizarro world, like it was like Sliders, that episode where everything's the same except the Golden Gate Bridge is blue. And they're like, close enough. It was like, this is not Los Angeles, but it looks like it. Now it doesn't. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like a drone shot of them at the Hollywood sign, and like they did a week and a half in LA for sure.
Yeah. And the rest, I guess, there's tax breaks in Joburg.
Yeah.
Damn prawns. All right, keep going.
Meet Elle, a high school girl struggling to escape her inner monologue,
In spite of what happened tonight, I couldn't stop thinking about what Noah said to me.
whose voiceover butts in every 5 minutes like a Netflix version of Clippy.
You obviously couldn't see this, but my heart just did a backflip.
Yeah, that's what the acting is for.
Never great to hear your childhood crush say it's super gross in your pants.
Look, if I'd wanted to listen to this crap, I'd buy the audiobook, okay?
Life throws curves at you.
Shut up!
Ugh, this is all your fault, Kissing Booth.
Oh! Set your lips to smooch when Elle is caught between the Flynn brothers, 2 dudes whose parents work in the money factory. There's Lee, who builds a friendship with Elle based on 21 simple rules.
Pause. Just back to how rich the Flynn's parents are.
They're very
Really makes it messed up that Elle is like completely scrambling to find a way to pay her way through college. Like the second movie hinges on like her needing to raise money to maybe go to a private school. Look where her best friend / surrogate mom lives. Like they could find 50 grand in the couch cushions there.
50 grand for a Dance Revolution contest?
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Everyone in this movie, even her house, I guess because it's supposed to be set in LA, and I'm like, that's a pretty big, nice house for Los Angeles, and she goes to school with all the other rich people, so...
Oh my god, that's like Jerry Bruckheimer or like a cocaine kingpin's house right there.
But
like
also think about their school, like
$20 million house.
She goes to like, she goes to like Los Angeles County Day, which is not a real school, but like obviously is a prestigious like private school in Los Angeles.
They got uniforms,
Like that tuition is like Harvard tuition. Like where's she getting that money?
So when they're suddenly like, you have to do a dance contest to afford Harvard, I was like, what?
Also, as long as we're going there, you don't like as a senior just decide one day like, hey, you know where I'd like to go? Harvard. Am I going to look into that if only I can afford it? Like you've been getting straight A's this whole time?
Rory Gilmore did it with Yale. So.
You got a 1450 on your SATs, and then
I guess I mean Noah makes sense because I figured Noah was clearly like there's a Flynn library somewhere at Harvard, like
right. Well, no, they also kind of try to play it like
station.
Yeah, like it's a football scholarship thing, which I don't even know if Does
Harvard have a football team?
Does that? Like, I mean, they have a team.
Yes, they do. The Ivy League competes against each other in sports sometimes. It's definitely not their most important thing.
I mean, I guess maybe they do, but that's how they're sort of explaining the Noah version. But like, you can't. Like, she would have to have had a plan from, like, at least last year to try to get into Harvard.
Yeah.
Harvard. Ivy League football is all played, instead of a field, they play in the large backyard of someone's summer home.
Right.
And all
it's very Kennedy's touch football.
It's touch football, right? I was about to say.
Okay, keep going.
There's Lee, who builds a friendship with Elle based on 21 simple rules.
Rule number 1, only your best friend gets to know your birthday wishes. Rule number 7, no matter how mad you are at your best friend, you have to forgive them if they give you ice cream. Rule number 18, always be happy for your bestie's Rule number 6, if you can't tell your best friend about something you're doing, you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Rule number 19, always go to the same school as your
Rule number 2, never share our secrets with anyone else. Rule number 16, when your bestie needs you there, you need to be. Rule number 5, always do the Thanksgiving wishbone with your bestie.
How is that number 5? How's that the fifth thing you think of?
Yeah. How many times has that ever come up in their relationship? Like 10 max.
I just like once the rules were in place at some point, there was just a moment where they had Thanksgiving together, and she did that with like I don't know, her little brother, and his little Arthur fist just like started shaking. He was like,
"We need to talk, Elle."
The rules are where, because I remember when we were first writing this, I was insistent on the 50 Shades fanfic angle, and the Flynn brothers are why I think it's like a teenage 50 Shades, because she sort of split Christian Grey apart. One of them is all the controlling rules, and then one of them is the horrible, abusive, manipulative, romantic interest. They're split in two pretty boys.
Tricky.
That's a lot.
Yeah. The rules are that's an insane number of rules for somebody that you're friends with to have.
Wait, what did it look like when they made those? Like, was it the same scene as 50 Shades, where they're just across a long table and it's just these two?
They're just like 8. They're like, I believe you look over this contract.
Rule number 5: Thanksgiving wishbones.
Yeah, there are a lot of rom-coms that are fixated on this idea of like a couple that met at like age 4 and then like grew up and fell in love and like they're the only people they've ever been in love with. And it's like, it's a weird idea to think about in practical real life. Like, I don't know any couples like that who were best friends together at like age 5 and now are married.
It is weird, but it's not movie weird, which is why I kept expecting them to be in love with each other.
Right. No, in a movie, it's like a movie trope. I'm just saying, like, we never really question that trope. And like seeing it here, you do get struck as like, you know, you meet a lot of people in high school. They should maybe just broaden their horizons a little bit. Like, you know, it doesn't need to be one of them Flynn boys.
As we were talking, there were like five named characters in this movie. Everyone else is like the nerd, yearbook guy, braces girl.
Yeah. It's like
they're the only ones who matter.
Weirdly tunnel vision for going to such a large school.
The big twist of number 3 is that there aren't Flynn brothers. There's just one.
Whoa, like a Tyler Durden situation.
Yeah. Like Lee's just been imagining this like violent alter ego. Yeah.
All right, keep going. Stop giving away these ideas.
But Rule 9 says relatives are off limits, so no kissing his older brother Noah, while he has to keep his hands off her dad and little brother. But rules were made to be broken, and sparks will fly when Elle gets trapped in her very first abusive relationship. Is he violent? Check.
Jesus.
Controlling? Duh. Get the car out! Blames the victim? Natch.
Wearing a skirt like that is asking for it.
Still, he's freakishly tall, and she got boobs over the summer. So climb that red flag, girl. Just get a burner phone and memorize the exits to his sex gazebo. So creepy, yet so hot.
Pause. Well, the sex gazebo is its own thing. I found their height difference to be crazy. I can't believe they cast somebody with like a 3-foot height difference between them, and they found these very aggressive ways of getting over that. Like, where to kiss her, he's like,
There's a lot of her like jumping into him. There's like they do that beat a few times to kind of cover how weird it is for him to like have to lean over.
It's like a Ichabod Crane, like full, like she's on her tiptoes and he's like they hide it there. That's not what it usually looks like.
Yeah, no, she's standing on something there.
She's on a Tom Cruise number of apple boxes.
Yeah,
easily.
Or they might have done the thing that Tom Cruise has them do sometimes, where they actually have to dig like a canal where his co-star is going to walk, so they're below.
Oh, yeah.
You seen that?
The crazy thing about him is they did. That's how huge.
That's him in a canal.
He's already in a canal. Yeah.
He's Andre sized, man.
Let's see, Jacob Elordi, height 6'5", and Jody King is 5'4". So yeah. That's a big mismatch.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I found it weird. Anyways, keep going.
Freakishly tall, and she got boobs over the summer. So climb that red flag, girl. Just get a burner phone and memorize the exits to his sex gazebo. So creepy, yet so hot. Hormones will rage thanks to their high school blindfolded kissing booth, which isn't just a gross idea that should get the entire school administration canned. It's also the biggest cliche in teen fiction since the popular girl clique who just wants to start drama. Oh, they do that one too? How about a get too wasted and table dance scene? A big prom night finale?
Oh.
A Team Jacob love triangle in the sequel?
You have no business talking to me.
Really? Well, why don't you just throw in a dramatic run through the airport sequence for good measure, It's cliches all the way down, people. This film exists for one reason, and one reason only. Abs. Wait, who's filming him?
Pause.
So
great.
He is a teenager in the gym, and somebody's just like, "Yeah, bro, ab sweat."
Like
you and me were best friends, and that's all. This scene was also. This is when I knew part 2 was just going to break me. Like the scene where this girl's like trying to get her in trouble, and so notices that the PA system has been turned on, and gets her running commentary on this weird workout vid that the guy posted. just was so strange to me.
Yeah,
It's
and
also
then she goes like from zero to
I was like, who are you? Who are you, evil woman?
Yeah, she's very happily in a relationship, but she goes from like 0 to like 1,000 on the horny charts when she sees this video. She's like, yum.com, here I go.
It's also like she's being funny like that. I feel like that wouldn't be like hugely humiliating. That'd be like, people would think that was cool, right? Wouldn't that be kind of funny? Like, there are a few times in these movies where I think people do things that would be like, that would be celebrated by teenagers, but it's treated like, oh, the deep shame. I took my shirt off.
I kissed that boy in front of
Yeah,
everyone.
like, okay, you think like a dude in your
Congrats.
class is hot. Like, that's normal behavior.
Well, I did like that everyone was chanting his name by the end of it. They were going, Marco, Marco.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Is the girl that did that the "you taste like a burger, I don't like you anymore" girl at the party in the first one?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
She's the girl that was making out with Noah when Elle interrupted them at the party.
And
I guess
she was
still holding that grudge.
I figured she was like a transient. She does not look like a high schooler. I figured she's just.
She also looks like she's definitely in her like mid-20s.
She looks like a runaway like scab punk kid.
Yeah, she looks like she probably fronts like a death metal band.
Weirdly, the giant boy, he's 35. I think he's one of the youngest ones. I think he's like 22.
The giant boy actor or the giant boy?
I'll have to look that up again. But I think he's.
Yeah, no, that's the one saving grace. Like, this movie would be really weird and inappropriate if these were real teenage actors. Like, the one saving grace is that these are all people in their 20s and you can feel okay about it.
These movies would be brilliant if someone had Wet Hot American Summered it and it was all 40-year-olds.
Oh, it was like 10-15 and it's all like 40-year-olds playing. That would be great, yes.
We'll have to do the remake.
That's what they
also, anybody watching this, if you're not watching, I know Pen 15 on Hulu does not seem like it's a breakout hit as far as I can tell, but it's amazing. Everybody,
It's great show.
It's so good.
All right, let's keep going.
Wait, who's filming him? So settle in for some good old-fashioned Zoomer escapism, where everyone is pretty, finds love, gets into Harvard, and pays their way with Dance Dance Revolution tournament winnings. But at the end of the day...
Pause. So the Dance Dance Revolution of the second one, which they take as like just a little blip in episode 1 and really expand on it in the second, is
the dancing is a thread that is pulled through both movies that we just never really explore. Like, the whole point of the kissing booth is to fund the dance club that I literally don't think we ever see in either movie.
We never see the dance club.
There's no stakes, because the only reason the kissing booth even exists is to save
raise
the dance
money
club.
for the dance club.
It doesn't even matter. That's not even in the story.
No,
the only time she dances is DDR.
The money raised with the underage kissing booth goes straight to Wayfair.com or whatever weird money laundering situation is happening there, because there is no dance club.
There's no dance club.
2 movies, they had a second chance to be like, okay, well, now we need to figure out how the dance club plays in. Nope, still no.
But they did find a way to have this all hinge on winning a $50,000 prize for a DDR couples competition, which I assume Marco just gave to her entirely out of the goodness of his heart, because she's the one who needs the money.
Well, he's making so much money playing guitar.
He's busking on the 3rd Street Promenade.
At the Santa Monica Mall.
Doing like Gypsy Kings B-sides.
Okay, here's my other question. Is there currently a big, popular video game tournament that's based around an arcade game? Aren't these competitions
maybe
usually
some
like
fighting games, but
League of Legends and like stuff people play at home?
Yes.
Street Fighter's always had a resilient, kind of competition aspect.
But even still, you play that at home mostly.
Right, yeah. But no, not like skee-ball, like Korean skee-ball.
Strictly, this is like a arcade, like you have to have the pads to practice. Like, this is not a guys are getting good at it at their house.
How amazing would it have been if it was StarCraft and not DDR?
Oh, that'd be great.
Yes. Already, I'm enjoying this movie much, much more if she's just like a hard StarCraft.
Here's my question. And I don't want to belabor on it too long, because this question involves these being good or coherent. But if if the conflict is the brothers, and it seems like, according to every other character but them, it is, why is there a new love interest at all? Like, shouldn't the sparks be flying between her and the boy she actually grew up DDRing with? And the older brother should now be jealous of the DDRing?
I think it's that they didn't want part 2 to change the story. Like, where part 1 ended is where they need part 3 to pick up. So this had to just be filler. This is just 2 hours. And part 2 is over 2 hours long and pure filler. Everything ends up exactly in the same place.
Are you calling this the Age of Ultron of kissing booths?
It's beyond
it's
Age of Ultron.
Water and
we met Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in Age of Ultron. There's nothing on that.
Ultron
level.
left some dangling threads for other movies to pick up on.
The Sokovia Accords only happened because of the foundation laid in Age of Ultron. John.
Everything is settled by the end of this, except she got into Berkeley and Harvard. Oh, no!
But that could have happened at the end of the first one, too. We didn't need a whole movie to get us there.
Man. I hope the people who are watching this have seen The Kissing Booth, because if not, man, what a lot of patience you have to listen to us talk about this dumb movie for this
spoilers, guys. Spoilers for
Spoiler
The Kissing
I want to
Booth,
know.
too.
I've got to assume that there are a lot of angry people that we are more energized talking about The Kissing Booth than we were Firefly.
Much more.
Yeah, Firefly, we were like, it's all right. Yeah, they're in space, kind of cheap, but fun, This one, I'm like, what about the dance club?
Keep going.
You got me there.
But at the end of the day, they're still relatable because sometimes they fall down go boo. In what may be 2 garbage films with horrible messages. But if they made movies out of the cringy stuff you wrote at 15, well, I'm still taking offers for Ninja Viking vs. Boo Police. Netflix, give me a call.
Not in this lifetime, girl. Never gonna happen.
Limited series,
Starring.
come on.
You flopped this, King. Simpin' ain't easy.
I did not hit her. It's bullshit. I did not. Oh, highly.
Paycheck in pink. Melted plastics. 30 and flirty. So many Jorts.
Jorts aren't still cool, are they?
Marco
Pause.
always...
Would you call that many jorts a John Cena of jorts?
That was a John Cena worth of
I think
jorts.
it's 1.5 Cena's worth of jorts. I think once we've established the Cena as a unit of jort measurement, we've even exceeded one
and a half
Cena.
Cenas?
Yeah, I think we're at 1.5 Cenas. I went through
2 Cenas is where you're wearing jorts on your arms.
Yes, right. Full body jort. I went back and there were scenes where she's wearing jorts that I didn't include because you just didn't get a good enough, clear enough look at the jorts. But she's still clearly jorted. So I just wanted to throw it out there, just so everybody knows this is a sample. This is just the best visual examples of jorts.
Thank you, Lon. Thank you for your service. Anyways, keep going.
Jorts. Teenagers. Marco always has the last word.
Congratulations. Good shot. There she is.
Rachel never leaves happy.
I am so thank you for the dinner.
Pause. I love just the way they shot her and dressed her is like a long-suffering housewife. Like she's also supposed to be 15, but she's always in like cardigans and like a floral print dress and just like, oh, Lee, you've come. It also is like, it's the thing where the parents don't exist, where it's always the kids who answer the door and like the kids who answer the phone and stuff like that.
It's like a Charlie Brown universe where adults are always like wah 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 off screen.
It's also weird that they gave the protagonist their own Baxter. Or like
the show.
Like why does, if the movie was about him,
and
I get him dating her and secretly being in love with Joey King, but why?
Is he? I really don't. I still feel like I don't know. Like, is Lee genuinely in love with Joey King, or is it more just like he feels weird about her being with his brother?
The story would make so much more sense if he was, I think.
Right, but they never acknowledge it.
This weird unresolved tension throughout the whole thing.
You would think one time they've got to like establish there's chemistry there besides just like they're goofy.
Yeah. Nope. It's a goof.
I think
based relationship.
Just the reveal that I want in 3 is that because there's also if there's no chemistry between him and Joey King, and there's no chemistry between him and poor Rachel, I think the reveal I want in 3 is that he's gay and just extraordinarily debilitatingly OCD, and that's why there's so many controlling rules, because he just has to have them. Rule number 40 is you have to knock 5 times before best friend conversations can start.
Okay.
That's the only reveal that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Total psycho. I think he's got L's. He's got previous L's in his basement.
They're going to turn her into a lamp. Definitely.
Okay, keep going.
I was just going to say, I think Joey can, we're being really hard on Joey King. She's great. She was really good in The Act. I've seen her be good in things. I just think this...
She's really good.
Yeah, this is just slapsticky. This kind of thing is just maybe not her forte. I feel like the material let her down, but I don't want this to be interpreted as I think Joey King is crap.
We had a bit in the first draft of this that was, can we just let her get to the I'm making cool stuff
right
of her Kristen Stewart career? Because she's super talented.
I do feel like Joey King is going to go on to do great stuff, and we'll all look back on this as remember those Kissing Booth movies?
Yeah, I think that these Kissing Booth movies are the reason why she's going to be a mega star.
Right, but in the same way that we do with our Pats, where it's remember Twilight,
Sure,
I think it's that.
Sure, because these things, and something we didn't touch on is I think low key the reason that these got so popular is because Joey King and Jacob Elordi were dating. They were actually a couple, and that made them Instagram famous. And then you need to see the movie that these two people that you follow are smooching in, and it's really? That is the movie, the stuff around the movie that made it such a phenomenon.
You're probably yes.
So that'll be the next trailer that we do.
We
should do trailers for Instagram. All right, keep going.
A real celebrity relationship.
Yeah.
Rachel, and I never wanted to be a freaking marshmallow in the first place!
And this old man on patrol checking the sex gazebo.
Pause. That's the other thing that this movie has weird issues with, is it's sex and making out in weird places, like a downpour in a gazebo.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Hollywood sign, which
not that the way it's depicted in this movie. That's not how you could not spend the whole night into the morning soaking in the afterglow right under the Hollywood sign. There's a gate and security. You would.
It's also freezing cold up there.
It's not.
There's coyotes. And it's a tough hike. You would not emerge from that hike all clean and with your makeup done.
That's not where you want to go for your first time, unless you just want to be real swampy, tired, and cranky.
Yeah, it's not as romantic as depicted here. Also, just to go back to the old man in the gazebo. What a shame that Rip Torn is no longer with us. How perfect, how amazing would he have been in that role? He would have killed that role.
I was thinking maybe Harvey Keitel. He could have. He could roll that.
Or Duvall. I feel like Robert Duvall would really have stirred some
look
emotion.
From that man. It's clearly not the. I mean, I think he says that it's his spot that he takes girls, but that guy has definitely watched
Noah.
No, I don't remember which one's which.
No, it's Noah, and this is part of the context of the film. That yes, he's repeatedly caught Noah out there with various ladies.
Yeah.
He's always keeping one eye out.
Yeah.
So I would look for more big things from this guy. He's
great.
He's in the role that only
deleted scene where a giant teen tries to bring a girl to the gazebo, and Noah shows up and is just like, "This is my spot."
All right, keep going.
Not another teen movie until you've learned your lesson. Does everyone in this movie delete their text history? Shady.
Yeah, quite shady. I know we don't have deleted scenes, but
I know
the other tag was about the teacher reading
Beekeeper magazine, which I got so obsessed with this. I replayed that scene 4 times. So there's a scene in a classroom where they're taking a test or something, and you pan over to the teacher, and he's reading Beekeeper magazine, which immediately this got my attention because they always make jokes in high school movies about what losers the teachers are outside of class. Tina Fey in Mean Girls really leans into this. And I thought, like, I guess that's one of those jokes, but it's actually an interesting backstory to give him, like, this offbeat hobby. Like, that makes him seem interesting, not like a nerd. But then you see the actual cover of the magazine, and I believe it's a photo of the actor playing the teacher.
He made the cover of Beekeeper magazine.
He's reading because he made the cover.
That's the only reason I voted against that tag, because I was really looking, and I was like, I think that guy's goatee's different.
Oh, okay.
So it's a few months old, the photo.
I'm not swearing up and down, but the fact that it was so close made me think, like, is the implication that this guy made the cover of Beekeeper magazine? In that case, make the movie about him.
Yeah, this year's hottest honeys.
Though, because I looked up, just like, I searched Kissing Booth on Twitter today, and like someone was sharing vines where people were reacting to the Beekeeper magazine. So I was like,
good.
oh,
Okay.
Okay.
I'm glad the kids at least got noticed that. And I also, part of me feels like I really hope that's from the original story, that the 15-year-old
that they had a side story, much like
had a little, like, Mr. Phelps loved beekeeping and read Beekeeper magazine religiously. Like, just that would make me feel good. That
I think that they also, that reminds me of the, I guess, probably course correction that she made, because the entire first movie is like completely white and completely straight, that where they do the gay romance that, like, they're largely silent the entire time. It's like a silent film about two guys, like, slowly getting into each other.
We get one scene where one of the guys, who doesn't appear to really know Elle previously, like, just kind of breaks it all down for her on the beach.
Yeah. And otherwise, it's just they just pause the movie for scenes of longing looks to each other while they're doing, field day or whatever they do.
Those are exclusively gay moments.
They peppered it in with exclusively gay, but like not necessarily speaking roles for those guys. So good for them.
I guess it's part of an overall attempt to be like, the Kissing Booth may seem problematic, but actually it's great. Like, they kind of are threading that through. Like, it's bringing these kids together.
Because reasons.
Okay, movie. All right, whatever you say.
Anyways, thank you guys for watching so long and so hard into this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the like button and hit the bell so you never miss another Kissing Booth breakdown, because you bet we will be back for Kissing Booth 3, 4, 5. We're going to skip 6, and then we're going to go hard on 7.
6 is going to be like Halloween 3, where it's all different characters at a different school, and then they'll be like, oh god, no, back.
The Kissing Booth came from the Druids. It's going to be great. No outtakes, as mentioned, but we do have some comments that you guys have submitted, so let's go through some of these. The Holy Knight of YouTube, honor be thy name, asks, do they see live chat? No, I mean, I can't speak for you guys. I have our own faces open, and I do have a browser open, but it's just the Google tabs for Kissing Booth in Italian, Jacob Elordi height, and DDR tournament winnings.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that would make sense to keep the YouTube channel open so I could see comments come in, but I do not do that. I
feel like that would do a weird audio thing where, like, I'd hear myself.
Well, you could keep it muted and just watch the chat.
Too distracting. I'm sorry. Maybe Joe will look at it. Joe, do you look at it?
I'm too scared to have anything else open, else I'd be booted from the show.
Well, there you go. Ryan is watching though, and he plucks the best of it and ploops it in front of us in the chat. So we get to see your questions. James Bunt asks for Joe, why do you have Magnus mustache? I'm not sure what Magnus mustache is, but why do you have it?
Because it's good.
Well, there you go. Yeah, free mustache rides, people. Sassima Frass writes, I feel personally attacked, Spencer. I'm 5'3" and my husband is 6'4". I'm sorry. I look, love conquers all. I'm just saying, like, when you cast a movie, you have the choice to not fall into that thing where you need a stepladder. What's that?
Conquer that mountain.
Yeah, climb that mountain, exactly. Sam Karanja writes, 1 is a reasonable length. 2 develops its characters more in both the best and worst ways.
It does not do that. Sorry, sir. No. It is longer. More things develop, but they don't develop the characters. They just kind of develop.
Yeah. And Care Moon writes, the author was like 17 when she wrote the first, but the rest are from this year, and she's 25, so she can be held responsible for the sequel.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Good. That makes me feel better. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe there's a Bella spinoff coming out about a beach house.
oh, good. And then you get the whole thing from a yearbook guy's perspective. That's the next book.
I hope it works on the Lake House rules where they'll be able to send letters to one another across time. That would be a good addition.
Oh, great. Yeah. Yes. Love that. And finally, Ben Zeitin writes, all these characters look so very unlikable and shallow. How is this movie so popular? I do think it's because of the show outside of the show. You know, it's the followings that they have and the real romance that they had going on behind the scenes. And like Jacob Elordi was dating Zendaya, and like they're just cute teens, you know, living a life that cute teens want to live. So you want to watch them do whatever. It's not because the movie's good.
It's also popular in the age of Netflix is so different. Like, would this movie have been a huge hit if it was theatrical and people had to go pay money and go to a theater to watch it? Like, who knows? Maybe. But the fact is, like, if you like other movies in this genre, Netflix stuck it in front of your face for a few weeks and like, yeah, you know, maybe you click play, you know, like, our evaluation of what is like a massive worldwide hit now is like so off from where it used to be even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say how big a phenomenon the kissing booth is really. Like, I don't know.
As a parent, I can't imagine anyone taking their kids more than once to see this. That's for sure.
Part 2, I mean, my God, like what a commitment. It's like Zack Snyder's kissing booth. Jeez. Why does it need to be over 2 hours?
Release the Snyder cut of the kissing booth.
Release the Snyder cut. Please no. All right. Well, that was fun, you guys.
Just beating people to death in that one.
I had a good time. And yet I know that we'll be back talking more Kissing Booth. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us, audience. And please come back next week where we'll be discussing a movie where, that's going to be too obvious. We won't be monkeying around next week. And we'll see you then. That's what you're getting. Thanks for joining us. See you next time. Bye-bye.